and the dude, and he's telling me to shush. I'm like, fuck. So now I'm starting to feel a really good buzz. Okay, and I'm like thinking, by this time I realize my mom is full of shit. She don't know nothing about no fucking drugs or anything, because, man, I only took 2 small hits and I didn't even hold it in. And I fucking got fucked up out of my life. So all of a sudden I'm sitting down at this couch, and I am just leaning back, about to sink into the couch and sit there and be stoned, right? So just as I'm starting to sink into the couch, he goes, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. All of a sudden now I'm freaking out. And I'm like, what do you mean? I thought I was going to be hanging out for a little bit. It's like, dude, I'm going to crash, plus my mom can't catch you out here. Finally realized why the son of a bitch is shushing me. We're at his mom's house. I'm like, oh, man. So now this guy is trying to convince me that I'm okay to drive. Dude, it's not like you were drinking. You're just stoned, man. You're okay to drive. And I'm like, dude, I can't drive. I mean, we spend a long time, him trying to convince me that it's okay for me to drive, and I'm fighting the idea. And I'm sitting in the driver's seat of my parents' pickup truck. Now, I am... Finally, I was like, fine, fuck it, I'm leaving, man. And I ain't never giving you a ride home again. You know, I actually said that to him, because I was mad. So anyway, I'm starting to drive home now. I'm starting to give myself a talk that's going to help me make it home. Alright? So, what do we know about marijuana? Marijuana slows the reflexes down, so I'm going to have to think ahead of things, right? This is what I'm telling myself. I got to try to think of the future. That's what I'm actually explaining to myself. Well, as I'm starting to drive, my head is literally sitting over the steering wheel. Really, I mean, my nose is like an inch or 2 away from the, you know, the windshield, because I'm trying to keep as far ahead as I can so that my thought process is not slowed down by anything. Well, alright, so I'm doing okay, right? And then I see another car driving the opposite direction that I'm going, and I look to see the driver, and I swear to God, that driver was doing the exact same thing I was, driving with his face on the windshield. And then I was like thinking, oh, fuck. All of a sudden, I stopped the car in the middle of the road. Okay, now this is a neighborhood street. It's okay. I stop in the middle of the road, and I start bitching, because that other driver knows I'm stoned, and he's going to his house and calling the cops and telling them about what kind of car I'm driving and where I'm at, and then they're going to come pick me up because I'm stoned, and he knew it. And I'm like thinking, fuck. And I'm sitting here in the middle of the road, stopped, bitching about somebody knowing that I am stoned. Then all of a sudden, I realize I'm parked in the middle of the street. Now, I spend the next 5-10 minutes bitching about me parked in the middle of the street, and all the houses around me know that I'm sitting in this truck stoned out of my mind, and I am not doing nothing about it. And it took me about 5 minutes to realize I'm bitching about me sitting there, and I haven't even moved yet. So finally I was like, dude, I just got to put this car in gear and go. So I put the car in gear, and all of a sudden I'm like, you know, the future is getting away from me. It's moving further and further away, and I'm like thinking, fuck. I put on the brakes. I'm like, what the fuck's happening? I'm going back in time. And then I realized I got it in reverse. So we rectify the situation. I actually make it home. I get into the driveway. I go to park the car, and I step on the brake, and all of a sudden I get slammed forward to the steering wheel, and I'm like, fuck a duck, man. Oh shit. I ran into something, man. I fucking hit something. I get out of the truck. I do about 2 or 3 laps around the truck, and I realize I didn't hit anything. I just must have hit the brake too hard or something. So I'm like thinking, you know what? The truck don't look like it's sitting straight in the driveway. So I run out into the middle of the street, and I pick my thumb up in the air, and I'm trying to gauge whether or not the truck is straight in the driveway. Okay, and I'll explain to you why I have such a vivid memory of this. So I come to the conclusion that the truck is crooked, and I am going to get busted by my parents if I don't straighten it up. They're gonna know I'm stoned if the neighbors don't tell them, because all the neighbors know I'm stoned right now, because I know they're looking out their window staring at me while I am being stoned parking the truck. So I get back in the truck, I back out into the street, and then I pull forward again back into the driveway. I step on the brake, and I slam forward up against the steering wheel again, and this time I know I hit something. I know it because it was a different kind of jolt than it was the first time. I get out of the truck, I make about 4 laps around the truck and realize I didn't hit anything. So I start thinking about my parking to see if I park straight. I run out in the middle of the street, put my thumb up in the air to gauge whether or not it's straight. Sure enough, I am not convinced that I parked straight, so I need to go back out in the truck and do this shit again. I've done this about 3 times, okay? Now, we had a green Granada parked next to the truck. You know, we had a driveway that fit 2 cars, and, you know, both cars sat in the driveway all the time. The truck and this nasty ass green Granada. The last time that I finally do this, you know, and each time I could swear I hit something. You know, I just don't know how to hit that brake right in the driveway. So I do a few laps, and all of a sudden I'm sitting on the side looking at the truck, and I'm like thinking, man, I fucking sideswiped the green Granada. Now, granted, I'm going to tell you this, when I parked in the driveway, the green Granada is on the left side of the driveway, so if I'm getting out of the truck and I sideswiped it, that means that I couldn't get out of the truck on that side. But I was so convinced I sideswiped it, and I retraced my steps, and I realized I made a lap around the green Granada, and I was staring at the green Granada, and it wasn't a swipe it wasn't stamped on the side of the truck. So this time I realized that I am too fucked up to be out here, so I need to go back inside. I just need to go inside and sleep it off and wake up before my parents do and try to do this sober. Well, my parents wake up before I do, and they're pissed. Because, the parking job is fucked up. You know, I'm halfway into the yard. And my neighbor across the street saw the whole thing. That's how I know this story vividly, because he had to tell it to me at least 3 or 4 times. And he said the whole time he was watching me, he was laughing his ass off. And he just couldn't believe. And he said, you know, if I would have just left the truck alone in the first place, nobody would have known anything, because you couldn't have parked it any better. A sober person couldn't have parked it any better the first shot that you came in there. And he didn't even know why I was still going on it. And he thought he was just going to die laughing when he heard me scream out, I sideswiped the green Granada. I can't believe it. So then I realized,
oh my God,
I don't think I need to be doing drugs anymore, because I don't know shit about them.
dude, we were
This
just
is a true story.
in Ogamar, just laughing so hard.